agility, flexibility, and rich online shopping experiences. Those are the kinds of trends that will drive retail significantly in the retail landscape this year, especially after everyone going online last year. So how has it changed, and how do we get on top of the train and get on board with this? Let's speak to an expert in this. Jarred Deacon is the head of growth at the part payment platform Payflex. Hello to you, Jarred. We've seen your name around as far as Payflex is concerned for a couple of years now, but I imagine 2020, you're one of those industries that I think has actually probably done quite well for yourself. The South African market, we're not talking big retailers, we're talking the average Joe, I think, has had to learn how to move online. Is that right?
Yeah, good morning. Thank you so much for having me. 2020 was definitely a different year for many aspects. The e-commerce industry has seen a bit of a boom. Historically, we have only had about 2 to 3% of transactions within the country. So 2020, we did see quite a substantial growth, but we've still maybe only moved up to about 5%. So as the average Joe does move online, we want to gear up to make sure that retailers are ready to offer a fulfillment option and actually deliver to these expectations that are now growing with the average South African.
Yeah, I think let's just, for the sake of our viewers, Jarred, let's just help them understand what we're talking about. We're not talking about me going online and ordering a pair of shoes. We're talking about the shop, the store, the bricks and mortar store where I would have walked in and bought my shoes from. I'm now a store owner moving into this digital space. How agile are we as South African business owners in doing that? Are we still a bit too scared?
Yeah, so we need to take a little bit more of a blended approach. So we need to see how merchants can find out how to meet these rising expectations. So by doing that, we need to provide a bit more of a rich shopping experience for our consumers or our customers. And we have seen that merchants are doing that, and they are shifting slowly, but as we've seen that e-commerce has really needed to be strengthened, and big merchants like the Pepcors of the world have moved online as they've needed to.
Where are South Africans getting it wrong, do you think? I mean, the moment you start dropping in terms like Google AdWords, Google Pay, CMSs, people start panicking, especially if they're used to customers walking into their store knowing what to look for. How does a business owner who's now being forced to look at online, where do they even start with all this jargon?
Yeah, so I think we're a little bit afraid, and we're very traditional in the sense from a South African point of view. We look at things very rigidly. As we've seen over the last 2 years, we've had to evolve. I mean, hard lockdown last year, March, was a big challenge, and a lot of individuals, a lot of business owners had to rise up to that challenge and evolve the way that they went about their business. So when you're looking at these scary words, or like you mentioned, CMS, it's more about understanding the social aspects of online shopping. It's not just, I'm going to post an ad and hope for the best, and if someone engages with me, I can provide a product. It's about understanding how to have a little bit more of a blended approach and answering the questions that the consumer needs. Is, will this be delivered? Is this secure? Is this site something that is substantiated? And by doing that, you're building up a nice brand online that will showcase an effective delivery mechanism in the future. And by doing that, you start garnering a little bit more of a change for consumers to engage with you online.
And Jarred, you mentioned the security and the safety of not just the ordering of the product, but of course this is where you guys come in as Payflex. It's the secure payment of this. How are people able to choose a payment gateway like Payflex to ensure that when a customer pays their money, they are actually going to receive it? It's not going to vanish into the ether somewhere. And that's almost as important as making sure your product gets delivered on time, is to make sure that money doesn't go missing, isn't it?
Yes, payments are a very sensitive position of the cycle. I mean, we go through this whole process to finally get the consumer or the user right to the end of the line to say, I'm happy, I trust the site, I trust everything about this merchant, and now I'm willing to put my credit card details into a third-party site, and this is what's going to happen. So what Payflex has done is we only partner with merchants that are credible. We go through a huge due diligence process to make sure that they can fulfill their goods, and we try and support the merchant as much as possible. And at the end of the day, we need to make sure that security is of utmost importance. As you mentioned, a lot of consumers get a little bit worried and nervous in terms of putting their credit card details in, but you need to make sure that it is from a credible source, that there have been online reviews, and that you have seen that there's an SSL, for layman terms, that the site is secure, and don't just give your third-party information without the confirmation from your bank, like an OTP.
All right, Jarred, I'm going to say thank you very much indeed. Hopefully some new business owners who are looking at changing their business plans for 2021 are going to hear what you've said. If you need more information, head over to their website. Look for Payflex on Google as well. Jarred Deacon from Payflex, thank you very much for joining us.